Good morning, my friends. When last we met, I was showing you this is the bottom part of the can of worms. It's called the well. It's called the well because, well, the worms go down there and they really, they would really have a hard time getting back up. So once they're down there, that's pretty much, they need to be retrieved. But it's called a well also because, it has the part in the center that comes up. Uh, these are the legs. The legs go up inside of this, and they actually kind of snap in there. And then you can see there's air holes on the top of each one of those, so that there is oxygen, so that the worms can breathe even while they're down there. And this also has a spigot on the front. Turn it left, right, and so that's the base. I'm going to. I think you can probably see if you watched yesterday's that I had probably almost an inch of castings that had gotten all around there. And so I've taken all of that off, and I actually scooped it out with my, look at my hand here. I have a spatula. Honest, it's not the same one I use for pancakes, but I could. It's where it came from. But anyway, I use this, and I can get, it's Teflon, but it's smooth enough that I can go around and scrape things, but without hurting the worms. Have I got any worms still left on there? I think there's a few cocoons or something, but most of the time, once the worms get down here, they kind of stop reproducing because they're kind of sitting in their own waste, and I don't think that's a real positive thing. It's not enticing environment for them. So anyway, this is going to be taken outside and it's going to be washed out. What I usually do is I take it over to a garden area that I want to fertilize, and then I'll go ahead and close the spigot and add water to it. And with my hand, I'll go through and try to clean it out, and then use that water. Actually, even though it's chlorinated water, I'll use that on something that I want to grow, and boy, it gives a real kickstart to it. So anyway, this was our bottom tray. This is going to be our now number 3 tray, and it is a combination of, actually it was the contents from the second tray, the center tray, and then a lot of the stuff from the top. And if you watched yesterday's video, it was very long, I'm sorry, but you get the idea if you want to jump ahead or if you want to read the description. And then I put everything else over into the this tray, and it was just all the papers, and it had some coffee grounds in it, and then I threw all of the worms that I had collected on top of it. So in the middle of the night, I was thinking that because this is so hard to harvest, because it's like a chocolate pudding that you've never had before. It is so thick that even if you try to add stuff to it, it's just so thick. So I was thinking that I have the leaves that are pulverized, and they really are so fine. I wondered if I worked it in there, if it would help. Aha. So my friend Sandra over at Nana's Worms and Garden, son of a gun, she's 3 hours earlier than me. She's on the West Coast and I'm on the East Coast. And she was thinking the same thing. So she sent me a note early this morning after watching my video yesterday and said, hey, what do you think if you added those pulverized leaves? So 2 minds are better than 1. So this is what we tried. So I added this to it. I laid down. This was the third layer, the original number 3, and it's going to be what I put on top of this other one. But anyway, I laid down like 2 or 3 layers of coffee grounds, used coffee grounds over here, and I brought them over and made a nice little pattern here so that it would keep things from falling through, i.e. the castings and the worms. And then I started adding this pudding-y stuff, and had, of course, the coffee grounds were still attached to the coffee filters, and so that was absorbing some of this. And then I added some of the 2 packages of the pulverized leaves that I have, that I keep contained in here. And it's interesting because when you take the leaves and they feel utterly dry, and yet when you pulverize them, there is still liquid in it. And so I added that, and I had a container like this filled with coffee grounds. I have one more out here that I brought out, and this sits open in my kitchen, so they really dry out very quickly. So it was dry-ish leaves and dried coffee grounds. And I'm going to add another thing of, now this one is really dry. The other 2 were, I had to coax them out. But you can see, this is the Drake elm leaves, and you can see look what how interesting it is that part of it is almost black and part of it is almost a beige, or a tan, I guess you would say. So let's just, I don't want to, I'm trying to work with gloves on today, so I'm not all covered in worm castings. So as you can see, as you work it in, the first one just showed nothing, and the second one, I started to see a little lift on the castings, and now the third one, I'm hoping, starts to work its way in. Because remember, I mean, these castings, they're not going to get absorbed like in seconds. It's going to take a little while for them to absorb the moisture, and a little while for the worms to kind of coax themselves out of their deep sleep in this poop coma, you know. So anyway, this is my idea, is that once I add this, and I go ahead and use that almost as a bedding. So now it has the bedding that they can eat and they can move up. It has coffee grounds that they can eat and they can move up. And I have some moringa leaves. I'm trying to do this one-handed. There we go. Wait, let me just pull that off. Okay. I have loads of moringa here. And moringa is the tree of life, and it's filled with vitamins. And I take that and I have it all pulverized. Also, I dry it. This stuff that's really nice leaves I give to us because we're the humans and we deserve it. And then this stuff I will give to the worms. I mean, it really will boost their little systems. And then to that, I'm going to add some eggshell. Got plenty of eggshell. And again, this is just an experiment. For 13 and a half years, I have been taking that bottom tray and working with that poopy pudding. And it would take me, another hour and a half to get out all the worms. And it was, what a mess. It was just absolutely a mess. So I'm hoping that this works. And I'm not sure if I want to add anything else to it, but I think what I am going to do is go ahead and add the contents over here. I don't have much left. This is where they sat last night, and there were loads and loads of worms. I think a lot of them have kind of probably moved on into the bottom, which probably seemed like a more hospitable level. And I'm not going to even fluff those worms today. Well, maybe I will. Yeah, there's guys moving around in there. All right, we'll leave them to their own device. But anyway, what I'm going to do is off camera here. Hang on. Well, my back gave out, so my reinforcements showed up, and he's helping me clean this. He's going to help me clean this, I hope, and I'm not going to get wet. But as you can see, we put the spigot, close the spigot, fill it with water, and then that's spinach and a peach tree and marigolds and all that sort of thing. So why throw it away or down a drain when you can add it back into your own yard? And now will be nice and scrubbed clean, so that the kitchen is clean, which is where I keep it. So anyway, that's it for this spot.